this really awesome old school song a second ago. I was trying to write this in before I oh, I don't think I better turn this off. Okay, I'll turn this on. Yeah, okay, that'll be better. Hi! Just got off work and I am flying high. Oh yes, baby. God is good. Woo! Hard work is good. Pays off. Oh yes, baby. It pays off. So, I have been thinking about my favorite author. Some of you want to know, where does my inspiration come from? Yes, it comes from God. Who inspired me to write this particular book and what reflections? The Lord inspired me, yes, through others. He actually told me to write, but the inspiration that he used that fueled me, yes, was pain and all types of sorrows. Yes, that book. But who started the ball rolling in the first place? I want to talk about that tonight. Now, I can't leave my dear Mother Teresa Green out. Just saying her name makes me start to think. But I'm not on here for that right now, but I always have a moment to pay tribute to my mother who gave birth to me. I respect her very candid way of doing things and saying things and being. Her very articulate way of speaking. First of all, let me start by saying, as a little girl, I had a speech impediment. You would never know that, right? And by the way, I speak now, right? Sometimes I get tongue twisted now at times. I have to slow down and just stop, right? This didn't happen until I got on here. All of a sudden I got little strings hanging. That's bugged out, right? Okay, so I had speech impediments. I just couldn't speak right. I couldn't say mommy. I said money. I couldn't say television or television. I just couldn't talk. And I did that for a while, all the way up until I was 6 and 7 years of age. I had to go to speech therapy. A lot of people didn't know that. All the way until I was in 5th grade, I couldn't read. In 5th grade, I was going to school. I don't know how I made it all the way. I guess they just passed me through. I'm telling you, I could not read words. I was always being sent to what is the name of that class? The reading class, or being taken out of class. I think I was in the ESL class, even though I spoke English. I think I actually needed English as a second language. No, seriously, I'm serious. I really, really, really had. And a lot of the problems, I think, could be due to that I was in my mom's womb for a little bit longer than I needed to be. I was green when I came out. I lost a lot of oxygen. I was one of those babies that my mom didn't plan me. I was an unplanned, so she felt. I was not a planned pregnancy, and I wasn't a wanted baby. I was not wanted. And I think a lot of things, when you're in your mommy's womb being incubated, that stuff, it's real. That baby feels it and reenacts certain things I did all through my life until I understood what actually was going on. I manifested a lot of anger. And one of them was I would cry and scream, trying to say words that I wanted to say, but I couldn't figure out how to say it. I would just scream and point to stuff, and my mother would just get whatever it was that I wanted that she saw I was pointing to. And one day I went to the babysitters, and at the babysitters, I was talking to the babysitter apparently. I don't remember this, but my mom told me. She said that the babysitter told me to tell her what I wanted, and I would tell her. And my mother said, Kim can't talk. And she said, oh yes, she can. Kim talks around here all the time. I couldn't talk well, but I would talk. And so I got home. My mother said, okay, so she's not talking to me. So I was pointing at the water. I would do like this. I was like 4 at the time, 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3, anywhere in there. And my mother said, what is that? And it was the water I was pointing to. I was like, and I was still trying to do that. My mother sat there and made me keep doing it until I got so mad. And I said, what? Turd. She said that was like the only thing I could actually say because I was so mad. But I had such a bad speech impediment that my sister used to get mad at me because my mother would make her sit there until she could understand what I was saying. And my sister would be like, I don't know what she's saying. My mother would be looking at her like this. Try to understand. My sister would be like, I'd be like, and I remember very clear. Like the words were not clear and precise. I guess I knew what I was saying. I guess I did. I knew what I was trying to say. But my sister would be sitting there like, huh? And my mother would be like this. And showing her teeth going. My sister would be so scared. That she would, okay, Kim. Because the thing that my mother didn't want, you'll notice me at certain times, I can actually stumble over my words now. And if I get nervous or when I'm upset, I speak very clear. I'm fast with it and quick with it. But if I'm nervous, or if my nerves are just like a little shattered at the time, if I think somebody's paying like too much attention to me, I mean, like, I stand in front of like hundreds of people and I speak, right? But I'm talking about like if there's someone in the crowd that came to hear me speak because they want to later feature me in something, that's when I have to slow down and really become extra articulate, or else I lose it. I start to stumble. So I have to be very, very careful then. Now, the whole reason for me coming on here is to talk about this one gentleman. I hated reading because I couldn't read. I hated to read. I just didn't want to, because I just hated it because it wasn't fun reading. I stumbled over all my words. Now I'm going to talk about 5th grade. 5th grade. Okay. In 5th grade, I was still stumbling over my words. Okay, so it's a special day today. It's a special day today. Those of you know, it's my anniversary. Me and Mike's anniversary. So it's a shout out. Actually, it's not anymore. It's his mom's birthday today, but the 30th. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Let me go back. It's kind of shocked right there. Kind of got stuck. my mind kind of. Okay. So, James Baldwin. I got to turn from this song for one because it's. Hold on, let me go to some like jazz because it's making me think about my hubby. My hubby. And this is one so better. Is this any better? Okay. So, I remember 5th grade, I couldn't read, stumbling over words. We would be in group readings in class, and I hated when it was my turn. The teacher say, Kimberly, read the next sentence. Oh, I'm like, and I'm stumbling in 5th grade. That's why my oldest daughter, reads like a stallion. I had her reading college books when she was in 3rd grade. She was already reading that too. Sight words, mostly. And then as she came into 3 and 4, she was reading books. Reading Disney books. She's all I had to do. Now with my little ones now, I am a little slacked with them, because I try to just, because I'm homeschooling them, I'm trying to cover everything. So where with Kim, I totally focused on her reading because it's like she was my first child, and all I could think of, nobody's gonna laugh at her in school. Nobody's gonna laugh at her in school when she's reading. Ain't nobody gonna be able to laugh at my baby. The teachers are gonna need her to help them read, and it's true. It's true today. She is very articulate in reading, and so I purposed in my mind that I didn't want to read. I had to read, though, because I would get in trouble. So I went home. The kids would laugh at me. They would laugh at me. They wouldn't fight me because they knew I kicked their butts. But they would laugh at me. And I wouldn't fight somebody. I wasn't one of those kids that if you laughed at me, I'll fight you. I know some of them like that. My car sounding. I don't like the way that's sounding. Anyway, turn this off now. Okay, it's the air. Pushing the air out. Okay. Alright, so, sorry. Anyway, I went home and I told my mom one day. I finally, got tired of going through the madness of being picked with. Teacher wouldn't stop them. I mean, and they would do it laugh, and it's this is crap. This particular teacher. This teacher I had, I can't call her name because I might get sued on here, but she was a piece of crap. She was a piece of crap, my 5th grade teacher. I can say that. I can't say her name, but I can say my 5th grade teacher. She was such a piece of crap. She would sit there and let them laugh. Like I'm going to want to read after they're laughing at me. Right, so it would be like Kimberly Wright, because there was another Kimberly. She had a different last name than mine. So they would call me Kimberly Wright and call her Kimberly, whatever her last name was. I was just so fed up. I went home and I told my mother, I said, Mom, I don't want to read in school. I hate reading. I can't read. The kids laugh at me. My thing was, Mom, help me to read these words so I can just get through it. I wasn't trying to comprehend anything. I didn't even understand the purpose of reading. And this is what I'm saying. These teachers, this particular teacher, and a lot of them are crap. That's why I know homeschooling is the best thing for me. Because I teach my children why you're reading. You're not just learning these words just to learn words. You're learning these words so that you can look and see that this store, the sign on the store says open 24 hours. I tell them you learn to read so that you won't walk into the men's bathroom instead of the girls' bathroom. What does that mean? You're reading for comprehension. So you can understand what you're reading and have fun and go on journeys. And I teach my girls that. But these teachers didn't teach you that. I didn't know why I was reading. I thought I was reading so that people wouldn't laugh at me. I was trying to read better, just let me get over these words. It was like, let me get over this hump so I can get away from the pain of crawling up this hill. And reading was painful for me. And it was just tedious. It was work. Something I just didn't want to do. It wasn't. I'm having a moment, so excuse me. So my mother, she took me, and every day after school, while she was doing little items around the house after work, she would tell me to read, the book to her, my reader. Like whatever we were going to read the next day, she would read that to me. And she would tell me, read it over and over. Read it until you're comfortable. And I would read the whole thing, so it wouldn't matter what part I read, I could get through it. And whatever words I stumbled over, she would make me sound them out and go back and just go back. And every day, it didn't get better immediately, but it got better, And I'll tell you what part got better. See, because I don't even know. Well, my mother would talk about comprehension, but I don't know if she wanted to go deep. She probably was just glad I could talk. she probably was just glad I could talk, because my mother's a college student and college graduate and everything else. On top of that, with degrees and qualifications and everything else, like I said. So I think she was just like, I'm just glad the girl can speak. Reading is a plus. This is an added, so I wasn't pushed, and I felt dumb. That's why every chance I get, I try to spend time with children, anywhere, everywhere. If I could teach them how to tie their shoes, if I can teach them something so that they can feel, empowered. If you can get a child to feel empowered about one thing, you've changed their lives. And I'll tell you, not one person could make me feel empowered about reading except one person. My mother couldn't even do it. She was there and she helped me get over those words. She basically helped me. It's almost like a cow climbing a hill, getting to the grass without grazing. I got over the hill without grazing, meaning I was able to read through all these fantastic words and not knowing or thinking about what it meant. And my mother would say, what does this mean? And when she would take time and break it down, I could go, yeah, okay, that's what that sentence meant. But as I'm reading, I wasn't articulate. And I messed around through going to the library, and I stumbled. I don't know how I found this book. It was in the Newark Public Library because we always had to go to the library. I didn't know why. I didn't understand. I was just going because I had to go in 5th grade. You should know, why you're going to the library. I messed around and stumbled, and I ran into this book entitled If Beale Street Could Talk. I didn't know who this author was. I just knew that we were learning in school that it was important to know who the author was because that's the person that wrote the book. It never meant anything to me. I never cared who the author was. Who cares? I don't even want to read. I hate reading. It's a job. It's not even a journey. I didn't know it could be until I read this book by James Baldwin. He made me love reading. He's my mentor in writing. Excuse me. I was thinking about him because we're doing memoirs of him on YouTube. He was an activist. He was a poet. He was into social justice. People thought he was crazy because he probably was a little crazy because when you have so much talent and so much, just have so much in you, like what he did, he experienced so much on the racial equality basis. Just to hear him talk and articulate, it's like takes you to another world. I wish I could have met him, but I've met him through his writing. He's wonderful. He is my hero in writing, not one of. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't love reading today. This book was way over my head. It was, you would think, in 5th grade, 10-year-old, the book was very explicit sexually and just everything. He told a story and made you feel like you were one of the kids around a supper table. He reeled you in. That story was the groundbreaking part of my wanting to write. Then I began to understand that reading would help me write better. And I adapted his style, his flashback style of writing. The way he told a story before he told the story. Some people get annoyed with me when I do it, but I don't know any other way to do it. I was taught by him. He was my mentor. And when you tell a story that well, a person can't help but understand what you're saying. I've read other books since then. Because of him, I read other books. I gave other books a chance because I said, if his book is this good, there must be other books out there. I never found a story that I adored more. I never found a story that I adored more that made me want to. I'm not talking about scripturally based. I'm I'm not doing that. Of course, that story is my life. The story of Christ. That is the ultimate. And I was reading the Bible before. I was reading James Baldwin, and I was learning to read words then, and I was just reading words. And because the story was told to me about Jesus, I didn't have to fumble through it and try to figure it out. But James Baldwin, and I realized the other day that I hadn't gone through enough of his speeches. I didn't see that he didn't know he was an American until many years later. He didn't realize that he was an American until he was grown. That's how racist it was for him coming up, and how badly he was treated. He kicked in the door for many of us, and I hardly hear people talk about him. But I have to talk about him because I'm the writer. I'm the thorough writer that I am today because I studied his style. And not only that book, If Bill Street Could Talk was my first and my favorite. He also did The Upper Room. He wrote The Upper Room. Love that. That one was funny. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about, because I really want whoever's listening to this or viewing this, I want you to actually go take a look and learn about him, because he was an awesome author, philanthropist, just mind-blowing, mind-shaking. He was a poet, and you know it. Definitely was a poet. Everything he did was just full of rhythm and syncopated with life's social injustices and inequalities for our people. He stood out. He wrote A Native Son. And there beside his book was, I don't know how, beside it was Maya Angelou's Why Does a Caged Bird Sing? And I never picked it up. She wasn't the one that made me read. In fact, I couldn't understand Maya Angelou's her poetry. Like, as I was coming up, I didn't write poetry until I was in my 20s. Like mid-20s, I realized that I could write poetry. I knew I was into rap. I knew that I was into rap music. I knew I loved rap music. That was definitely like, so I would emulate Roxanne Shante. She was my favorite. Roxanne. Roxanne is who I be. I used to write the whole rap out, and I would practice it and I would learn it by heart. And then it was Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, but basically Roxanne Shante. I knew I had a facet for learning and memorizing. I knew I could actually say it the way she said it and keep the beat. I was able to write my own little stuff to add to what she said, but I never tried, like as a kid, I never really tried to be a rapper or write poetry. To me, they're one and the same for me. With Maya Angelou, her work was just, for me as a child, I just didn't, already had a problem with reading as it was. And once I did start reading and knowing that I'm supposed to understand stuff, I couldn't understand any of her writings. And I know a lot of people, when I tell them I write poetry, they're like, poetry? Oh no, I'm not into poetry. I can't understand poetry. And a lot of times they're thinking about probably either, I don't know, maybe Edgar Allan Poe. If you're just thinking about Still I Rise, that's just one poem. I'm talking about other things that Maya Angelou has written that was like very, very, she had a lot of symbolism, and she was just like, now I could read it and dissect it. But as a child, I had a difficult time, and I just was not even trying to go there. James Baldwin was simple, yet he was quite defined. He somehow, my little brain and my little heart just adapted to his way of thinking and writing. And I read If Beale Street Could Talk at least 6 times in the same month. I couldn't put it down and I remember after that I read Terry McMillan's book entitled Mama. Oh my God, that was the only thing that I said okay. And I read that 3 times. Terry McMillan is a good writer, but the only thing is I would have never read her book if I hadn't read James Baldwin's book. James Baldwin has a lot of books under his belt. I can't think of them all at this moment. I'm like little tongues. Have I read all of his? There I go. Have I read all of his books? No. I haven't read all of his books. Why not? I've scanned a lot of them. I think basically I read the books that I could read at the time that, the time that I had. And it's like now I'm looking for them. I'm looking for like all of his books. And it's like, I think people have stolen his books. So I think I'm going to actually have to buy I'm going to buy his whole collection of books, because they're not libraries now, So when I could read them, Native Son is always there. It's like you can always find that one. But The Upper Room, yeah, that one's there. But If Beale Street Can Talk, I mean, every time because I want my daughter to read it. Every time I go looking for it, it's out on loan, or someone never returned it. It's like, come on, how selfish can you be? Why would you do that? Why would you not return that book? You don't steal the book from the library. You have to leave the book there so other people can take it out. You're supposed to bring it back. Library is not the same anymore. They will give you a fine, and people are like, oh no, I gotta get the book back on time. Now they just take it and keep it, and then just never go back to the library again. It was worth it, that one book. Some people, I think they pay for the book. They say, I lost it, and they pay for the book. I don't know. Evil thoughts come to my mind right now. Maybe it should have been me. Maybe I should have said I lost it. But I'm not selfish like that. To all you people who don't take library books back, bring them back. Somebody loans you something, you should give it back. Which reminds me, somebody loaned me something that I have to give back. And I'm going to give it back. This has been Poetic Prophetess Kimberly Wright. Be blessed, be peace, be good.